Nestled in the foothills of the Himalayas, on the border between Burma and Tibet, Nagaland is one of the 7 states of northeast India. Throughout history, Westerners have been strictly forbidden to enter this mysterious region. Only recently have permits with stern restrictions been available to visitors, and I've had the honor and good fortune to be issued one of the very first. There was a good sign back there that said, "Modern technology owes the ecology an apology." Very good sign. The entire population of Nagaland is comprised of many tribes, and although sharing a number of cultural similarities, they also have different traditions and languages. Often hostile to each other, all the tribes held one tradition in common. They were all headhunters. It's this formidable terrain that has kept the Naga in virtual isolation from the outside world and is the primary contributor to the preservation of their traditional culture. I'm minutes away from my first encounter with the people of the clouds. No words can describe the anticipation with which I approach this meeting. A place. Yeah. So they sell this music in Meghalaya? Yeah. Really? We asked the guys if they like this music. This is. Yeah? Yeah. What language? A chip. A chip. I hear a familiar song as I enter, and for a fleeting moment forget exactly where I am. The only thing available is milk, which our host served to us at room temperature in a metal cup. My driver smiles at me and points to a litter of pups in the corner nursing on their mother. And then I realize that here in the mountain there's no pasture for cows or goats. Well, Western music and dog's milk, hell of a lot better than a severed head. This is just the first of many Nagaland encounters which leave me in dumbfounded amazement. The next is just around the curve ahead. This is the kind of travel that one dreams of while young, but doesn't get around to until much older. I'm not far from septuagenarian and enjoying the pursuits of a much younger man. Nestled on a mountainside surrounded by jungle, Mukokchung is a bustling metropolis of around 100,000, which 50 years ago could be mistaken from a distance for a town in the U.S. Traveling in this seat-of-the-pants style, regular meals are never a guarantee. Mukokchung has a number of restaurants offering different types of cuisine, and I'm determined to find one whose menu, in addition to the milk, does not also serve the dog. I'd like to mention that cuisine is a challenge in more ways than one. However, this is the best. We've come to the best restaurant in all of Mun, and we had one choice. A 5-star restaurant, and I'm eating what I call a dumpling and is known locally as momo. It's fantastic. I have no complaints, but it does take adjustment. Here we are joined by 2 very well-educated young men from the Ao and Phom tribes who will be our guides into the most remote tribal areas of Nagaland. Both Madame and Augustine have the unique cultural experience of having been catapulted into the digital era of the 21st century from being raised in a traditional home with an open fire on an earthen floor. Put into perspective, their grandfathers are still revered as heroes for their headhunting exploits. Lunch has inspired a visit to the market in Mukokchung. I've been to a few markets, but here is an endless variety of produce for sale and consumption, which for me is a source of great fascination. My having no idea what half the stuff is, and having some resistance to the other half. On the way, I'm introduced to a kind and gentle old woman with matching soul, who still has a connection with the past traditions of the Naga.
Trust only God.
Yes, right.
I never trust any both, any missionary, any so on. I'll trust only Jesus Christ.
I will worship sun, moon, everything. Why so many gods? Almost all left. We become a Christian. Now some are Catholic, some are Baptist, some are Protestant. But we practice sometime, just for preserve our culture.
Okay.
So unless we cut a head, you are not going to become a hero.
We were headhunters before, but now the American missionaries came here. They changed the headhunters into a Christianity, a Westerns, a modern, and we are still here because of them. We open our eyes.
The first missionaries invited by the British into the Naga Hills were American and mostly Baptist, and their relationship was not always harmonious. The primary goal of the British was to put an end to headhunting, and necessarily without educating the population, whereas the missionaries' plan was to fundamentally change Naga culture, with education being a major part of the package.
Different tradition, different language, but we are still, a same human being.
This is the only way in and the only way out. It is the part of travel adventure that usually doesn't get considered. I love this travel along these back roads, exploring the length and breadth of Nagaland, and in penetrating ever deeper into its jungles, I penetrate ever deeper into its traditions and past. Boundaries between tribal areas become evident by the type of agriculture they use. Originally, only Jum, the slash and burn type of shifting agriculture I'm seeing now, was practiced because it was easily abandoned if a stronger tribe usurped the land. The real danger is in that in cutting the primordial forest, the virgin forest, some species of plants are lost, and there's one in particular which holds the possibility of great medicinal properties. Traveling along the back roads of Nagaland provides an excellent opportunity to get to know my guides. The Ao tribe has a strong cultural identity, and Madem is Ao. So I ask him about their creation story. In the beginning, he says, the High God created the plains and made it all smooth. Then he made Nagaland, but while doing so, he started having stomach pains and rushed the job, so that now all of Nagaland is mountainous terrain.
We like hospitality, we like people, we love our own people, other people abroad. We are all same, we are humans, we love each other. So we are all brothers and sisters. So
through our long hours of travel together, I've learned these two young Nagas tend to speak from the heart. And this is Madem's second reference to the brotherhood of man in as many miles. He's making a point which reflects the true nature of the Naga character, despite the stigma created by the colonial British, who officially labeled as criminal the many tribes who did not meet the British concept of a civilized society. In every village I visit, with rare exception, I am made to feel welcome. Western faces are a rarity at best, and my hosts seem almost as anxious to know me as I am them. I say, almost. Field work, wood gathering, and daily chores are often shared across gender lines. The women are responsible for the household duties, and the men for generally all else. The handicraft skills of men is well known, but it's of interest to these Western eyes to note the strength of the women. We've been offered this accommodation only because it's a holiday. It's actually the classroom of one of the school for some of the kids. The tribes that live in this area are known as headhunters. It's really skull collector, but we'll call them headhunters. And the last time that a head got lopped off was right in this neighborhood, and it was 8 years ago. greatest possible contrast we could imagine. We are at the end of the road as far as one can go in this direction in an automobile. The next thing is a jungle trail. And we find all of this totally unexpected. One of the great joys of travel. My bed is actually, this mattress is actually sitting on the benches which the kids use during school. So we have been very graciously accommodated here by one of the most comfortable beds that we have slept on in weeks. Right outside the window, they live in one of the most beautiful forests/jungles anywhere in the world. And we're very, very honored to be here, by the way, because there haven't been visitors allowed into this area, at least certainly not with Western faces, in many years. The warriors of the village were organized into groups called morangs, each housed in a communal building which served the dual purposes of dormitory and rallying point. The dormitory was the most imposing structure in the village. In it were displayed animal and human skulls collected by the morang and carvings depicting their exploits.
In this dormitory, all the young males, they used to live in here, and if any eventualities like some dangers arise, then people will bang the drum and all the youngsters will gather for the war. Each beating of the drum has different significance. That's it.
Young men moved into the dormitory as soon as they could wield the broad-bladed knife called a dowel, the essential weapon and tool. And they resided there until they were married and set up households of their own. Young warriors were powerfully motivated to become successful because it was an indication of being favored by the gods. Headhunting success gave a man such high status in the community that, in addition to other privileges, it resulted in his having his choice of wives. It was not only the spiritual life of the Naga community that was profoundly impacted by the advent of Christianity. Headhunting was an integral part of the Naga social structure. Much time and energy was spent preparing for a head-collecting raid on another village or defending against one. Now that constant vigilance is no longer required, the atmosphere and pace of life are more relaxed. Nagas are generally an extremely proud people, believing family to be an integral and most important part of society, holding nothing in higher regard.
In this village, a Bungu woman gets married with another village, then he is that village. But so the man is important. Man generate everything, so he says that the man is the important. It says that it's the gay.
In the next village, Agustin arranges for a short stay for us, living with a typical Naga family, with one exception. The head of the family is a Baptist minister who is also the head of a large church. I have no doubt he'll shed some light on the mysteries of Nagaland.
No, I belong to Baptist. I studied theology in Manipur. I completed DPTs in 1989. Before 1949, there was no Christianity. After 1949, we converted into Christianity, the whole village. Our culture was animism.
The churchmen I've just met are perfect examples of how the Nagas have combined different religious traditions and customs, and which is a likely blueprint of how many religions have evolved over the millennia. Just outside the church in the center of the village is a traditional gathering place on a platform called a sunglang. Here a village elder is sharing the animist legend of the history of his people.
Our people originate from a hilltop village called Chunglimti. There lived a widow in a hut with a stone fireplace, which was caught in a landslide. The stone from the fireplace broke into many pieces, which were scattered in the jungle. Our people came from these stones.
As an oral society, maintaining no written history, storytelling not only preserves the cultural heritage, but also performs an essential social function. The stories told to children instill personal values of respect, loyalty, obedience, and responsibility, emphasizing harmonious survival and peaceful coexistence within the family and community. I'm told some tribes had both shamans and priests acting in complementary roles, priests being responsible for the observance of rituals and ceremonies, while shamans foretold the future, interpreted dreams, and healed sickness. Once again, Agustin scores big in the interview department, introducing me to the modern NAGA version of the traditional priest and healer.
He has, so to say, good leadership skills, talent, good leadership. So actually, he's appointed by the people, not by himself. He has a kind of like a country doctor, so to say. It seems he was a heavy drunkard and a heavy taker of these all kinds of tobaccos. Near the altar, he promised that he won't take any kind of cigarettes or this tobacco or any kind of wine. He promised in the church. So as he promised this, he did not see, but one of his colleagues, he saw a kind of lightning upon his head. One of his colleagues saw lightning upon his head, a kind of lightning, and after that he was trembled. He trembled, and after that he got this grace. Last year, in the month of May, 28th of May, it seems that they were having a revival in the church, and he got a sign on both the palms, sign of the cross on the palm, and blood flowed over, and he was there on his palm for 1 week, 1 full week, and almost all the people came to see that, and even the doctors, they came and witnessed that.
The same man who is today a healer and leader in his church and community would have been held in the same high regard in earlier times, but with a very different title.
So you have come here, so he's very grateful, and he wants to pray for us so that as you travel around like this, so you will not meet with any kind of harms or any kind of misfortunes. So he wants to pray for this, and he thank you a lot and encourage you a lot for this service.
The missionaries tended to carry a Bible in one hand and a sort of first aid kit in the other. Thus, the healing and pain-killing properties of modern medicine became associated more with the new God and less with village shamans. Every unrehearsed intersection with past and present theologies evokes a natural response from God. My only question is, which? On the far side of the village is a less familiar but equally irresistible sound. It's, I think, very important to say that this is not a show that these guys are putting on for me. I heard from practically across the valley, I could hear this drum and was attracted to it, and this is what these guys do even when Westerners are not here.
We'll be carrying a big stone, a long piece of rock, in commemoration for the forthcoming our Golden Jubilee. That means 50 years we are going to complete after receiving Christianity.
Your morong is donating the stone.
Yeah, our morong is getting this stone, and we are gonna donate it to the village.
I've just been invited to witness the presentation of this monolith, but as my host was describing it, I didn't know whether to expect a stone from the forest or an engraved marble commemorative piece. But with these guys now heading up through the jungle, I can expect that it's probably not engraved marble.
Our people came from these stones.
The creation myth told by the old man in the village begins to shed some light on the mysteries of Nagaland. It's a fundamental animist belief that a spirit resides in every natural object, especially stones. But it's the spirit that's worshipped, not the stone. I'm standing here on the excavation site of this classic animist symbol as two clergymen recite in unison two different prayers offered up from the same budding theology. In early times, there was a traditional banquet called the Feast of Merit, which included dragging a large stone into the village. Excavating and relocating this huge monolith weighing tons, which is exactly what they're doing. Only now, instead of a celebration promoting fertility, they're celebrating 50 years of conversion to Christianity. The more things change, the more they remain the same.